Hello, everybody. My name is Elizabeth, the Education Coordinator for Marlene's Market and Deli. Tonight's special guest we have with us is Julia Craven. She is Enzymedica's VP of Education, and we are very, very thrilled that you are here with us, Julia. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I am a fan of Marlene's. While I don't live in the area, I travel there quite a bit, and I'm always blown away with what a great store it is. So I'm really happy that everybody gets to enjoy it, and I feel very fortunate to be here tonight.
Oh, thank you. Yay. And thank you everyone for tuning in here live on Facebook and also here on Zoom. What a lovely autumn evening we have here in Washington.
I'm in Boise, and so the leaves just started turning and it's crisp. It's my first sweater of the season.
Yes, perfect. All right. I will continue admitting folks here into the Zoom meeting, but you're more than welcome to get started.
Thank you. So my name is Julia Craven again, and my role at Enzymedica today, right now, is VP of Education. And I say that because I've been with them for quite a long time. I came to learning about enzymes by I worked in a health food store, not as nice as Marlene's, let's just say. Worked in a health food store while I was going through college for music. And I started learning everything about natural products. And that's where I eventually started to learn about enzymes and Enzymedica. It took me about 2 years of calling them and saying, I want to do something with you, but I don't know what. And eventually they did hire me as an assistant. That was about 15 years ago. It only took me 15 years to get my dream job. And now I'm able to compile, deliver the education, educate our sales force, folks like you, and I also have a big hand in formulating products. So I'm very, very fortunate and extremely happy to get to share this with you. And my screen is not moving. All right, it just needed a little warm up. So you may have heard this figure from the NIH: digestive discomfort affects 1 in 4 Americans. So these are really things that we think about all the time. We're going to kind of blow up this box a little bit tonight, but I did just want to touch in that 1 in 4 is suffering from occasional heartburn, constipation, gas, bloating, that feeling of distension, and food intolerances. I think it's a lot more than 1 in 4, especially when you consider all of the other things that happen around digestion, especially that food intolerances. You know, that's a tricky one. They can look a lot of different ways. But what are some of the unseen things that we don't always think about when we think about our healthy digestive system? Thank goodness the awareness is coming into play that the gut is the central hub to most of the functions of the human body. So at least 70% of the immune system is found in the gut, and we're going to talk about that tonight. And 90% of serotonin produced in the GI tract. You hear between 70 and 90%, depending on what you're reading, but huge amount of serotonin is produced in the GI. And it is the most large and complex organ of our endocrine system. So our hormonal system, our glandular system, our digestive tract is part of our endocrine system. We don't usually think of it that way. I never did before I started learning about it. And we have 10 times more microbes living in our digestive tract than human cells in the entire body. This is fascinating. It's like, who's in charge here? Are they in charge, or are we in charge? Are the microbes in charge, or am I in charge? I kind of think the microbes might be in charge the more that we learn about them. So wouldn't we want to give them a healthy and hospitable home to take up residence in? And there we go. I just needed to get to the right button. So talking about our digestive system, let's just take a quick tour through the digestive system. We got to get these really, less pretty pictures out of the way early on. So as many of you know, digestion begins in the mouth. I actually think digestion begins out here. That first time that you smell food and you think, Oh, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. And then you smell something delicious and you're hungry. Your digestive juices start to secrete. In the mouth, we all know we secrete saliva. Maybe what you don't know is that that is where some of our first enzymes make contact with food, our salivary amylases. We're going to talk about amylases a little bit later. But food then travels down to the stomach. The upper stomach and the lower stomach can have a different pH, a different level of acid in the stomach, depending on where in the stomach, and also depending on at what point in the digestive process is this happening. As we eat food, we all know acid enters the stomach. Now, sometimes there's too much, right? And sometimes it's uncomfortable and it actually pushes up. It pushes up to our esophagus, and that's what we know as heartburn. So we want to take care of our stomach and our digestive health and not just tamp down all that acid. That acid is actually there for a good reason, and there's ways that we can help to support that discomfort. So from the stomach, with pH changes again, we go into the duodenum and the small intestines. Now, this is kind of the fun part. This is where nutrient absorption occurs. This is where the beginning of the microbiome is, and is the small intestine. I think of this as kind of where the rubber hits the road as far as our health goes, because so much activity is happening here, not the least of which is nutrient absorption, incredibly important. So we want to make sure that we are using products that are going to work throughout all these different pH ranges, whether it be the stomach, the duodenum, or the large intestine, really the big home of our microbiome. In fact, I call it the microbiome because it is the center of so much that is related to our health. So as you can see, the pH levels change throughout the digestive system, and that's the body's way of protecting itself. So we need a lot of acid in the stomach to break down food, especially protein and fats. There's a lot of naturally occurring enzymes that happen in our stomach that is contained in that acid to help to break down the protein and fats. But we don't want acid going all the way through our system. So our body is really smart and it shoots out bicarbonate and it starts to alkalize that digestive fluid. So in its infinite wisdom, the body knows exactly what it's doing, just these varying through pH throughout the digestive system. So I mentioned enzyme, and the company name is Enzymedica. And, like I mentioned, I went to music school. I don't know how this happened, that I started reading about enzymes. And it was specifically the gut-brain connection. When I started to understand that, I thought, this is fascinating, and I want everyone to understand this. But we have to back up a little bit and just talk about what is an enzyme. People think about enzymes as that cleaning stuff you put down your sink. Well, it kind of is very, very similar. Enzymes are what we call biologically active proteins. They're proteins that contain energy, and they are just made up of long strains of amino acids that are folded in on themselves. They are very, very specific to substrate and pH. Now, what's substrate? Substrate in this instance is usually going to mean food. So enzymes only want to break down the kind of food that they are designed to break down, and they only want to do it in the environment, in the pH in which they are most active. Enzymes come into activity. They're called hydrolytic, the enzymes that we work with. It means the minute they hit water, they spark to life. They are able to give a catalytic reaction when they're in the right environment and they have the right thing, the right food to work on. Now, interestingly, the human body manufactures at least what we know today is 75,000 enzymes. So this is one of the reasons I love working with enzymes, is because they're very innate to the human body. The body knows what to do with enzymes. And guess what? Remember, they're just long strands of amino acids. So here's your worst case scenario. The enzyme breaks down and you just have some amino acids. I come from a history of herbalism and natural medicine, and I love them. But one of the things that I don't love as much is the contraindications with people's medications, or just even contraindications amongst themselves, because they have all of these alkaloids and different, pieces of real chemistry in this plant medicine. Enzymes don't have that. They just break stuff down. They're just amino acids. They're so straightforward and so safe. So remember that they are a very, very efficient catalyst. So it's not to say that food wouldn't break down without the presence of enzymes, whether they're from our body or they're from a supplemental enzyme source or from food. Raw food contains a lot of its own enzymes. It just goes much more quickly. So it's usually said in the literature that we could live without enzymes, but all of our reactions would happen so slowly that we wouldn't live very long. So this is the benefit of blending enzymes, is called TheraBlend. So we talked a little bit about how picky enzymes are. They only want to work on what they want to work on. People call enzymes the workers of the body. And I'm like, no. They're the picky workers of the body. Enzymes are so specific. And this is why it matters that you want to work with a company that really focuses and specializes in them, is because they are not terribly obvious in their blending process. Many enzymes, most enzymes on the raw materials market are actually commodity. They go into things like Tide and other cleaning agents, or they go into that drain cleaner. And we don't want those kind. We want the kind that are made for the human body, made for our digestive system, those varying pH levels, and also made to work on foods that we actually eat, that we consume. So remember that digestive system and how they had the varying pH ranges throughout. So it makes sense that you would want an enzyme that would work throughout those varying pH ranges. And this is really what put Enzymedica on the map 20 years ago, is that nobody was thinking about pH and enzymes. Nobody was thinking about the pH of your digestive system and saying, well, we want an enzyme to match. So this is what we call TheraBlend. And what we do is we take each kind of enzyme. So I'm going to use protease as the example because it's our protein digesting enzyme. Very, very important. Most products, when you look at them and they'll say, oh, protease, 100,000 HUT. HUT is how we measure protease. Well, that's great, but it's only 100,000 in one environment. It only works in an acid environment. So you may not be getting that activity in the small intestine, in the large intestine. So we take multiple proteases and blend them together so that you get activity in the small intestine, the large intestine, and the stomach, even the blood, if that enzyme doesn't end up breaking down some food in your digestive system. But we also have protease enzymes, those protein breaking enzymes that help to break down different kinds of food substrates. So there's proteases that are really good at breaking down dairy protein, and some that are really, really good at breaking down animal protein or plant protein. Again, when we're able to blend them, we're able to hit all of these different marks and really take advantage of the specificity of enzymes. So you have a very complete formula. So Enzymedica does this for all of our major enzymes, things for protein, carbohydrates, fats, and fibers. We're going to talk about this a little bit more, but I did want to just put out there that we have a specific blending technology that really helps to make things a lot more effective, and people feel it. It's why we've been around for so very long. Okay, enzyme stuff started. Baseline set. So if you come out of this call with 3 things, it's this slide. Enzymes or no, I want people to understand this. Foundation number 1, the stronger your digestive system, the more nutrients you can derive from healthy foods that you eat. So it's all about nutrition, right? I mean, how many years of multivitamins have I taken, or B complexes, or magnesium? A lot. And if we want to get those kinds of substances, those nutrients from our food, our digestive system has to be in good condition. The second is that enzymes support gut tissue and the microbiome due to breakdown, right? So enzymes, they cleave things, they break things down. If you are not able to break down your food, you are not able to eliminate your food. So we all know about the importance of bowel health and regularity and what an impacted gut can mean to that microbiome. Remember that microbiome that we want to keep so clean. If we're not able to break down our food, we're not able to eliminate our food. This is all like very simple, but I think sometimes we forget. We think, oh, I just need to make my bowels move. Well, maybe your food's not broken down and that's why they're not moving. So we want to keep that area of the body in really good condition, that small intestine, that large intestine. And then foundation number 3 is digestion uses, just the process of digestion uses an immense amount of energy. Depending on the food, it can be up to 30% of our total energy output from that meal. So if you had a 800 calorie meal, you kind of got decadent that night, 30% of those calories would be used just towards digesting that meal. Now, when we think about all the processes that come along behind that, all of the physical processes that the body has to go through in order to metabolize that food, get the nutrients out, eliminate, now that number becomes much, much, much higher, which is sometimes why you read that digestion can take up to 80% of our total energy output. So I want to make that connection between digestion and energy, because remember, we just think about heartburn, constipation, gas, bloating. I'm like, people, it's energy. Everybody needs more energy. So foundation number 1 with nutrient bioavailability. Remember, it's not what you eat, it's what you digest. So you can have the most beautiful organic diet in the world. You've figured out your macros, you know exactly what works for you. But if your digestion is compromised for any reason, you're not able to really get all those nutrients out. You're not able to liberate the nutrients from the food. So that has 2 parts. The first part is the mechanical piece. It's the body's ability to break the food down into more absorbable components. So that is the body's ability to have enzymes, use enzymes. That stomach acid is also really important. So first, food has to be broken down, and then second, it has to be there has to be a good enough environment for it to be absorbed through the intestines and into the bloodstream. If that's a messy environment, it's a no-go. We're not getting the most out of our food. So I thought I'd go through the major enzyme groups. Someone loves lipase. I love lipase too. It's kind of it's one that I didn't learn as much about in the beginning because all the really fun research is on protease. And now as I've been in it more like lipase, it's where it's at. So 48 million Americans have pancreatic insufficiency. That is not a small number. And 700,000 have their gallbladder removed every year. 700,000. So just think about that compound annual growth rate of 700,000 gallbladders going out the window. We have a huge percentage of our population that just cannot digest fats because the gallbladder is simply not there. And it is essential. The gallbladder is very essential to lipase being available for utilization in the small intestine. And then certain medications, I have to put that on the slide, certain medications being those that suppress stomach acid, that suppress stomach acid. So I'm just going to say PPIs. I didn't say it. But if you're suppressing that stomach acid, you're also suppressing lipase. Now we have an enormous amount of people on these medications, and these medications are meant for short-term use. They're very, very effective and very helpful for short-term use. But we tend to like to do things. If something works, I'm going to do it forever and ever, and I might take double the dose because this is what we do culturally in America. So now we can see that the people who really are having a hard time breaking down fat is massive. So then I turn and I look and I'm like, what are the things that most people who are involved in a healthy lifestyle are taking? They're taking essential fatty acids, lots of omegas, lots of, really paying attention to, is it the coconut oil? Is it the avocado oil? What are we cooking with? I want all these healthy fatty acids, right? Well, good luck. I mean, if we don't have enough pancreatic lipase, or if our stomach is not creating enough lipase or it's been suppressed, then we're not able to glean all of those healthy fats. Then let's think about vitamin D. It normally comes from a fatty form, sheep's wool, lanolin. There are some vegan ones out there as well, which I'm very fond of, but they also have a fatty matrix. So everybody's taking vitamin D now because we all care about our immune systems. So energy or enzyme production, and lipase is one of the top ones, really goes down as we age. After age 30, it just goes on a slow tick downward, just naturally aging, because that's what happens. We produce less of all of our enzymes as we age, but lipase is a big one. Now let's put in there, we're not always very nice to our livers, maybe some, maybe a little downturn there with a little bit less lipase. And then medications, like I said. So when we really start thinking about how many people have a lipase deficiency, it's an enormous number. And yet we just keep on consuming more omegas. So if you want to get the best out of the healthy fats in your diet, look to a digestive enzyme that's going to help to break them down. Lipase specifically, it's actually one of the most expensive enzymes to formulate to work in an acidic environment, as well as an alkaline environment or a neutral environment. So these are not commodity enzymes. These are really, really good ones that are going to work throughout your entire digestive system. Protease. Protease is the darling of the enzyme world. There's been so much research done on protease. A lot of it was done on German Olympic athletes using proteases on an empty stomach. But we're going to really talk about protease for digestion right now, because that other stuff I could talk about for 6 hours, and you guys didn't sign up for that. So protease, undigested protein, is wasted protein. Again, amino acids, they're the building blocks of our body. And if that protein is not digesting and it's sitting in our gut, what happens over time is that really it's not very pleasant. It starts to putrefy. So a lot of times you'll meet people who have suddenly adopted a carnivore diet or just very high protein with the keto diet, and they're not equipped to break down these proteins. They're trying to make a good lifestyle choice for themselves, and yet they're not even able to break it down. So they end up with lots of digestive problems. So we need, obviously, the protein to regenerate healthy muscle mass and all of the muscles in our body. Our heart is a muscle, don't forget this. But amino acid absorption. So I'm bringing that up because there is such a link there with mental health. There are so many amino acids, tryptophan being one of them, phenylalanine being another one, really, really tied. Glutamine, I take glutamine every single day. Really, really tied to our mental well-being, and a lot of people supplement with them. That's all great, but they could be getting more of the amino acids from the healthy proteins that they're eating in their diets. So if you eat a meal and you just feel really heavy and kind of gassy after eating a protein meal, you may have a lack of protease. Again, it's a completely normal thing, especially as we age. It's not unusual at all. Sometimes your body just needs a little jump start. Amylase, carbohydrates into energy. Amylases, again, remember those are those enzymes that start secreting in our saliva. So I always say, remember, grandma was right, chew your food. Because and many of us have tried this trick. You hold a piece of bread or something like that in your mouth for a period of time. It'll go from its starting taste to a very sweet taste. And that's the salivary amylases at work that's breaking down those carbohydrates and turning them into smaller compounds, which ultimately, after a few processes, delivers glucose into the bloodstream. So that's our energy source. So when amylases are low in the body, carbohydrates, again, can ferment in the gut. I know this is super fun. Putrefaction, fermentation, it's great. But it really is a true thing. And one of the biggest examples of these that people can really identify with is lactose. So lactose is milk sugar. It's the carb portion of milk. There is an amylase called lactase that helps to break this down. So a lot of times people say, I love dairy, but dairy doesn't love me. Or I can't digest dairy, but I'm not giving up my ice cream and my cheese. They're just like, I'm just going to suffer. So what they are deficient in is an enzyme called lactase. Beans are another one. A lot of people get that gassy bloating from that complex carbohydrate in the beans. And literally it is just fermenting in there. So there's an enzyme, there's an amylase called alpha-galactosidase that many of you may be familiar with from popular products on the market that help to break that down so you don't get that fermentation in the gut. But the other thing is that I always say is that if you are a person who has more of a veggie focused or a whole grain diet, and you're feeling that bloat after eating, it could just mean that you need some extra help with some more amylases in your digestive system. So just very, very healthy diets, a lot of times are somewhat high in carbs, and that works great for certain people. It's a great diet for some, but sometimes they can feel some gassiness and bloating. The last enzyme we're going to talk about, and these are all, they're like families of enzymes. So there's not just one protease, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of proteases. So these are just the main families of enzymes. So we have the cellulase enzymes, and cellulases are actually a subset of amylases, carbohydrate digesting enzymes, except that they really specialize in breaking down cellulose. So they help really break down that plant fiber. Now, here's what I get super geeky excited about. Cellulase is not created by our own bodies. Cellulase is created by the microflora, by those healthy bacteria in our gut. So those healthy bacteria have a really short life cycle, really, really fast life cycle, generations, they call it, going on. And every time they die, they give off a few things. They give off some B vitamins, they give off lots of enzymes, and specifically, they give off lots of cellulases. So herbivores and omnivores were all set up the same way. It's not that our bodies aren't creating enough cellulase, it's that there might be a deficiency in the microbiome. We're not creating enough of our own cellulases. This is why when people take probiotics, a few days later, they start to have some pretty good bowel movements. It's because there's enough cellulases now to help to move out some of that undigested fiber. So I hear this all the time, and it's probably happened to some of us, is that we say, it's the new year and I'm going to go vegan, or I'm going to eat vegetables with every meal, or fill in the blank. I'm going to do better. I'm going to eat more fresh food. 2 weeks later, oh my God, I can't do it. Vegetables hate me. I can't digest them. Well, if you've gone from a standard American diet to really starting to make some great choices, your body, again, not set up for it. And cellulases can really help with making that transition. So if you think that there is an imbalance there, of course, probiotics are a wonderful choice. Huge fan of probiotics, but probiotics create cellulase. So why not just give your body the cellulase it needs? Also, it's going to be found in raw food. So when you, and I qualify this, it's not just raw food, it's food that's grown close to you, not shipped across the country, local, real food, because the minute it's picked, enzyme production starts to nosedive. What about probiotics? You mentioned it. Okay, so what's the difference? Besides the fact that one is basically a protein structure of amino acids, which is the enzyme, and then one's a bacteria. So enzymes digest food, probiotics don't. People often take probiotics because they want to help their digestion, and they're helping their digestion by taking something that enhances certain enzymes, not even all of them. So if you want to digest food, enzymes are the answer. So enzymes can also help to create an environment for the probiotics to work better, to have that real fighting chance to populate. So we talked about that a little bit with the microbiome in the beginning, and we're going to talk about it further in just a moment. And then enzymes have an innate activity or an energy. Once they hit water, their catalytic reactions spark to life. Probiotics may have this if you have a very good probiotic. that is still living or that is able to get through the gastric fluid and make it into the small intestine. Not all products are like this. So probiotics might have that innate energy. What probiotics do beautifully is support a healthy GI. So they bring in that good bacteria, which take up more surface area, help to push the bad guys out, let the good guys populate. Probiotics are beautiful for that, which is so important for immune function. But enzymes can help do that too. Remember, they help to keep the area clean. And probiotics, again, create enzymes in the GI, those cellulases, those fiber digesting enzymes. So really, putting them together is a beautiful, beautiful program. I think if half the people that took probiotics would take an enzyme too, they would see a massive, massive difference. Okay, this is where it gets really fun. Foundation number 2, the healthy gut and healthy microbiome. So I'm just going to talk through this flow chart really quickly and do it in as general a way as possible. So we start with the standard American diet and lifestyle. So sedentary, perhaps there's some medications that need to be taken there, and maybe just not a lot of really fiber-rich food, which has the ability to help to grow the microbiome. So we just start in kind of a sad state, which leads to sluggish digestion. Remember, we don't have enough enzymes, food's not breaking down, we're not able to eliminate it. Things are just going very slowly, and perhaps we're even taking medications sometimes that are slowing it down even more. So we have sluggish digestion, which eventually will lead to increased toxicity in the GI. Remember, proteins and that putrefaction, carbohydrates and the fermentation. Again, it's not pretty. It's not pretty down there when stuff is not moving through, which means that the microbiome can't flourish. So we get this depleted microflora in our gut. Now we're starting to think about the immune system, right? We're starting to remember, oh, that's right. All of our serotonin, some of our happiness molecules, they're created in our gut because it just can't be cleaned. Eventually, this leads, if this goes on for a very long period of time and there's other things in place, this can lead to weakened gut tissue. The mucosal lining of the gut tissue, which is so protective and so important, starts to wear away. Our villi start to not be able to do their job and create some of our own endogenous enzymes. And eventually, when we get that leaky gut tissue, that weakened gut tissue, now we get food particles leaking into the bloodstream. We get invaders, we get bacteria, we get other things that are supposed to stay in our intestinal system leaking into the bloodstream, and our body sounds the alarm. The body says, whoa, wait a second, you don't belong here. And this is how people begin to have more serious effects from weakened digestive health, from weakened digestive tissue. And we can see this most prominently with food intolerances. So you have someone who just has a kind of a normal food intolerance, and maybe they don't even know it. They don't even recognize it. And this was me. So I'll just tell my story. It goes on and on and on. I'm like, I think I don't do very well with gluten. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to try and take it out of my diet. I think I don't do very well with much of anything because I food journaled for 2 years, trying to figure out what is it that's going on, because I feel dopey after eating. I feel like someone has given me a sleeping pill after eating almost all the time. And what I came to understand about the gut eventually is that I had leaky gut. It's also how I learned about the products and was able to take enzymes to really help me to get out of that condition, because the enzymes could break down food where my body could not. And so those gluten particles are not leaking into the bloodstream anymore. There's something called zonulin, which is created in our gut as a reaction to undigested gluten. Zonulin leaks into the bloodstream, can cross the blood-brain barrier, and it actually binds with the same receptor sites as morphine in the brain. That's where you start to see autism and a lot of these issues where it looks behavioral. You're like, this doesn't have anything to do with my stomach, my friend, it does. Has a lot to do with your digestive system. So we want to be pretty on the inside. Remember, enzymes are very talented at breaking down food. Even if it's been sitting in there for a little while, it's still the same basic substrate, still helps to clean it out. Because we want to make sure that elimination keeps going. All those cleansing programs, all those 2-week cleanses or the cleanse kit or the this fast, do all those things. They're wonderful. But a daily digestive enzyme is your daily cleansing helper. And guess what? It's exactly how our body works. If we had optimal digestive enzymes that we were creating all by ourselves all the times, this is exactly what our body uses to help to move things through. Remember, the body knows what to do with enzymes. So pretty on the inside, because we have something called gut-associated lymphoid tissue, the GALT. So again, 70% of the immune system originating in the gut. And really that has a lot to do with the communication that's happening at the epithelial wall with the bloodstream. So it is the gut associated tissue, but it's also all this communication that's happening around there. And it's about 1,000 square feet. And this is a depiction of it on the right with these little finger-like projections, these villi. The reason these villi exist in Mother Nature's infinite wisdom is to increase the surface area for nutrient absorption, increase the surface area for a little bit of a mucosal layer so that viruses, bacteria, toxins can't make it through our intestinal system and into our bloodstream. These little villi are our protectors. And so if we are in a situation where where it's not clean down there, we're not as protected, and we also don't have as great absorption of nutrients, and we're getting absorption of things that we don't want. And then my favorite topic, and let me just back up, like, who here isn't thinking about their immune system? We are all thinking about our immune systems in a different way than we have ever been called to do. I'm not saying that digestive enzymes are the end all be all to immune health. I love many other things: elderberry, zinc, astragalus, andrographis, you name it, sweating, cold plunges, socializing, sharing community. All of these things are immune boosters. But let's just not forget our digestion, because it's kind of what holds a lot of that all together. So, next time you're thinking about, well, what can I do for my immune system? You're taking care of your whole body health is taking a digestive enzyme. Okay. The gut-brain axis, that's communication system, this relationship between the two. Again, 90% of the serotonin is in our gut. I care a lot about serotonin. It helps regulate my sleep. It helps regulate my mood. It helps me feel more relaxed. It helps with clarity of thought. It helps with food cravings and that feeling of fullness. Serotonin is incredibly important for everything about the lens of how we see life. So we really want to make sure that we're going to take care of the area where serotonin is created. And gut microbiota, those microflora, also have a really, really important role in tryptophan metabolism, which is one of the amino acids that's the precursor to serotonin. It's hard to get tryptophan from a supplement. In fact, it was taken off the market for a very long time. We have a version of it now, but you can get it from dietary, but you want to make sure that it's really, really, able to be absorbed because of that production of serotonin. And then the last one with the gut-brain axis is the vagus nerve. I call it the Viva Las Vegas nerve because it is the bidirectional communication system. It's a nerve that starts in our brain and it goes all the way down through our body, and really the main nerve attachments or points are in our brain and in our digestive system. They do attach with our lungs, they do attach with our hearts, they do attach with our liver, but you can see that it's like gut, brain. And the nerve signals move both ways. So a lot of times, things like diabetes can cause damage to the vagus nerve. Things like a dysbiosis, where we have a dysregulated microbiota in our intestines, and all of a sudden the signals to the brain are not moving as clearly. And have you ever been stressed out? You're just mentally so stressed. What happens? You don't want to eat. Your nervous system is like, no way, shut down. I am not in rest and digest. I am in fight or flight. And we can all recognize that relationship between the gut and the brain. We've all felt stressed out and then had a stomach ache. We've all had a stomach ache, or we've all had digestive problems and just been like, it just feels so anxious. Anxiety is a really, really big one. So a couple of different things there with the GI, both the serotonin and the vagus nerve. Now, last but not least, you've been so lovely to stick with me. Foundation number 3 is digestion uses energy, a huge amount of energy, depending on what you're eating. Protein is one of the hardest to digest, but so is fiber, uses a huge amount of energy. And I wanted to get the number, like what's the percent? What is that actual number? I know it's fluid because of different food, different bodies, but like, where's the number? Well, there are some numbers, but what actually fascinated me about it is that it takes almost twice as much energy to digest a whole foods meal versus a processed foods meal. So I'm like, wait a minute. We have all these people who are making great choices. They're like really trying to take care of their digestion. We're eating fermented foods and like beautiful bowls, like what's in this picture. And yet it actually takes more energy to digest them. So even though you may not feel that all the time, this whole act of digestion, all of the different things that go along with digestion and all the energy that takes, what if you had 10, 15 more percent of that innate energy? I promise you your body would know what to do with that. I know that your body would know what to do with it. I've seen it over and over again over the years. People call and they're like, my restless legs went away. I don't have PMS anymore. Like wild things that you don't think are related to digestion are. And part of it, amongst all of these other things, is that you're actually saving a lot of energy when you give yourself that gift of being able to break down foods more completely. So I'm just going to go over a few products here, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because the amazing staff at Marlene's can help you out with this. But just to touch on some of the things that we discussed, Lipo Gold, that is our highest fat digestion product. So one capsule digests 22 grams of fat, which is about half an avocado. So you get all of that digestion from one tiny little capsule. And it also contains additional protease to help to break down the protein and amylase to break down the carbs. All TheraBlend, also you're getting it throughout your entire digestive system. The product on the right is my favorite, and it's the one I take with every meal, is because it targets food intolerances. So this is our only broad spectrum enzyme that contains a protease, which is digest protein, enzyme called DPP4, dipeptidyl peptidase 4. We actually create this enzyme in our gut, but it's on those little villi. And if those little villi are not in good condition, then we're not creating our own DPP4 and we need help. So this one contains high DPP4, high lactase for helping to break down dairy, high protease for helping to break down casein, high xylanase to help to break down phenols. So if anyone is doing FODMAP, this is a very high phenol product. So it's a complete formula, but it's really targeted at all of those different intolerances. And I love it because so many people are like, I don't know, I just can't eat anything and I feel awful all the time. I think it's gluten. Digest Spectrum is a great place to start. And then the product in the middle, Digest Gold. It has been the #1 selling enzyme in America in the natural products channel for over 10 years in a row. This is not because we bought ads. This is not because we are on TV shows or Oprah endorsed us. We are actually a very small company, still privately owned, which is a special thing in and of itself these days. And this is because the product works. This was our first big product on the market, and we have not changed it since the day it launched. So number one for over 10 years, and especially because it's not the most inexpensive product on the shelf either. But the most expensive product is the one that doesn't work, and people do feel the results with Digest Gold. Those are but 3 of our products. We have an enzyme for every person and every occasion. Again, the Marlene's Market team is very well educated and can help to guide you to the best choice. You would think that people would know how to take enzymes or just feel comfortable reading the label, but I cannot tell you, this is the number one question that I receive. How do you take enzymes? Just take them. You are not going to mess up. So if you want your enzymes to specifically work on food for digestion, ideally take them before you eat. But if you forget, take them during your meal, take them after your meal. If you feel like you ate twice as much as you thought you wanted to, maybe take them again after your meal. It's going to hit food, and that's all that matters. If you do want to use enzymes for systemic, which we have not really talked about today at all, you want to take them on as empty a stomach as you possibly can. But for the purposes of everything that we talked about today, just take them around food. I can't tell you how many times I've been traveling and I just am like, whoa, my digestion is not moving. This is not a good scene. It could have been an hour since I ate. I'll still take an enzyme because we almost always have food in our digestive systems, especially in America. This is why I'm happy about intermittent fasting now. Mythbusters. These are the frequently asked questions. I heard if I take enzymes, I will stop making my own. I know where this comes from. This comes from something called the law of adaptive secretion. Sounds very fancy, but all it means is that if you are eating enzyme-rich foods, your body will say, thank you very much. I don't need to create as many. So it has an opportunity to do other work, other regulation in the body. Your body says, if I don't need an enzyme, I'm not going to secrete an enzyme. So people take this to the nth degree and they say, well, if it works that way, if my body's not going to secrete enzymes if I don't need them, what if I take enzymes? It'll never make them again. No, that is not true. Anyone who has done a raw foods diet or period of time knows that you do get your own digestive power back. Enzymes, supplemental enzymes are just giving you a little hand. If they get taken away, your body's like, thanks very much. I appreciate the help, and I'm going to go on with my business of digesting. It's not going to stop creating enzymes because we have to have them for life. If I take my enzyme in the morning, I'm good for the day. Nope. Enzymes are not time released. They're not like our vitamins. They're actually used once they hit that substrate with that food and they begin to break it down, they're used. So we need to keep replenishing them. I know people don't always want to take enzymes every time they eat. So what I suggest is take them with your larger meals. You know, if your largest meal is lunch, make sure to take it with lunch. If it's dinner, please make sure to take it with dinner. A lot of sleeping problems happen because of digestive issues. I'm super healthy. I don't need enzymes. Are you sure? Maybe you do need some help digesting that fiber. And if you're super healthy, then don't you want to get all the nutrients out of the foods you're consuming? So everyone can benefit from enzymes. We have enzymes that are actually, we call them low potency, but compared to other products on the market, they're actually quite high potency. You can pick up a bottle of enzymes for $10 for, 30 to 60 capsules. It doesn't have to be the Digest Gold and that larger investment. Just continue to take the enzymes. That's what matters. And then lastly, my favorite, I take probiotics, so I don't need enzymes. We covered that. Enzymes digest food. Probiotics just don't help with that. So I have talked for a long time now, and I just want to thank all of you for all this time. And I wanted to know, are there any questions that came up?
Not at this time, but this would be a good time, folks, to ask questions. I know I took a lot of notes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. What a fabulous presentation.
It's absolutely my pleasure. You can tell I get pretty inordinately excited about the digestive system. Who knew? I went to music school.
Exactly. Well, it's so great because I will be absorbing this information for quite some time. And yeah, the GALT, the
Yeah,
gut,
gut associated lymphoid tissue. Yep.
yeah, it's amazing. Those little villi just
Doing their business. We want
doing
to
their
keep them
business.
happy and clean. It looks like, do we have something in the chat? My cursor's not working really well.
Two, yes. Will this be saved to watch again? Yes. This is available on the Marlene's Facebook page, on the Tacoma Facebook page, and that is viewable. So if you want to share that with any of your friends or loved ones, feel free to do that. We'd love to get that information out there. Oh, and we had a question slightly off topic, but have you heard of Kangen water and what's your thought on it?
You know, I don't know enough about it to comment. I have a water filtration system that I'm in love with, and so I'm single focused on that.
Wonderful, thank you. And we got another thank you in the chat, yay. Well, while we have our, oh, and another thank you, yay. Well, while we have our wonderful presenter here, Julia, feel free to ask any questions in the chat box. I'm gonna check Facebook here if there's any questions.
There we go.
Right. Okay, I don't see any on Facebook here.
Great.
And okay, and there's none in the chat box here on Zoom, but I was really thrilled though about that digestive spectrum product. I am really thrilled about it. I'm going to tell all of my friends and family about it because I know there's a lot of people that have those food intolerances, and it's really difficult for them to navigate meal prep and you know, ordering you know, out and things like that. So that's fantastic. Thank you.
And even for people who, you know, I always think of digest spectrum as also for people who haven't quite figured out what their food intolerance is. So we know something in there is probably going to help. But on the other side of it, people who really know what their food intolerances are, and celiac folks are a really great example of this. So much diligence, so careful, so knowledgeable. But the reality is we're exposed to 4 times more gluten than we were 50 years ago. It's very, very hard to avoid it all the time. So what that enzyme DPP4 can do is it can just help with a little bit of cleanup work if there is that accidental cross-contamination, so that maybe it doesn't have such a big impact on the body. It is absolutely not a free pass by any means, but it does happen sometimes no matter how diligent you are. And so enzymes are kind of a nice little thing to have in your back pocket in that situation too.
Yay! I've used the one for the lactose numerous occasions, you know, just during the holidays, this is amazing information, folks, invaluable as we're creeping towards you know, Halloween with all that candy and the holidays with, you know, all those delicious baked goods and meat consumption. So thank you so much, Julia. You are a huge inspiration, and thank you very, very much for your amazing presentation.
Thank you, guys. It's always my pleasure, and I look forward to keeping in touch with Marlene's.
For sure, yay!
I'll keep my eye on Facebook over the next couple of days too, if any other questions come into the chat.
Oh, perfect. You are wonderful. Thank you so much, Julia. And
Thank
thank
you.
you everyone for tuning in here. We appreciate you. And yay! And hope you have a wonderful evening, folks.
Thanks.